One week before the wedding, my fiancée Sophia disappeared while camping with friends. I searched for her for a whole month, nearly driven mad. But on Christmas Day, I saw her under the Christmas tree in Central Square, embracing and kissing her childhood sweetheart Liam. Sophia nestled in the man's arms and said in a soft voice, "If this keeps up, I might not want to go back and marry Ethan anymore." Liam asked if she regretted disappearing, if she really didn't intend to go back. She hesitated for a moment. "No regrets. Let's play for another week. My parents will cover for us anyway. I'll show up again when he loses his mind." I hid in the crowd, watching them being intimate, and smiled bitterly. The next second, I called home. "Don't look for Sophia anymore. My wife can't be her." "Ethan, why suddenly stop looking for Sophia?" My mother was shocked to hear me say that. After all, when Sophia disappeared while camping last time, I searched day and night for a whole month. I lost several pounds and looked terrible. I watched the two still kissing beneath the giant Christmas tree in Central Square and smiled bitterly. "Yes, Mom, just consider Sophia dead." Although she knew I was speaking in anger, my mother didn't ask for details and instinctively comforted me. "You should have done this long ago. What's so great about that woman?" "Ethan, since you say we should handle it, your dad George will definitely find you someone suitable. So you won't keep insisting on someone I never liked from the start." My father George has a hot temper. He was very pleased to hear I no longer cared about Sophia. Before I could reply, the crowd suddenly gasped as brilliant fireworks exploded in the sky. What should have been an extremely romantic scene filled me only with coldness. Looking at the woman in the crowd who had just accused me of being overly controlling toward my first love, I could only agree with my father. Even though I had never actually been controlling with Sophia. Sophia and I met online in college and went through a long relationship together. A few years after graduation, I proposed to her. Liam returned 2 years ago. I always knew Sophia had a childhood sweetheart from high school. She never hid that from me over the years. I always thought that by the time our relationship reached this point, there wouldn't be any problems. But one call from Liam, just "I'm back," was enough to make Sophia's heart fly away. Over the years, I had given her absolute freedom and personal space. Yet she kept deceiving me again and again. I begged her to keep her distance from Liam, to stop using hanging out with girlfriends as an excuse to lie to me, and to cut back on mixing with some old friends in nightclubs. "Sophia, haven't I given you enough freedom? But you're the one who betrayed our relationship first." At first she did listen, but as time passed, she went back to her old ways. Nights out, the neon and wine. The last thing I expected was that, over time, she'd pin the label of controlling on me, even disappearing before a wedding. "If this keeps up, I might not want to go back and marry Ethan anymore." But when you agreed to marry me, you were crying. "Were you really that happy during the month I spent searching for you, Sophia? No regrets. If we go back, we'll play for another week. My parents will cover for us anyway." No wonder your parents Arthur and Diana didn't let me call the police and seemed unhurried, only saying they'd find you. It turns out the only one who was worried from the start was me. I don't want to go back to be manipulated by his controlling ways. When he's truly desperate, I'll reappear. Sophia, I really did go crazy. You know how long it's been since I slept a full night? I even got superstitious enough to plant a wish under the Christmas tree, hoping you'd show up. You did show up, but with another man. That's all there is to it. My heart is shattered and I'm completely disillusioned. I didn't want to watch them gaze at each other tenderly, so I turned and went straight home. As soon as I got home, I took out a burlap sack and a suitcase and packed up everything Sophia had left at our place over the past 6 years and threw it onto the doorstep. The next day, I was woken by a rapid knock at the door. It was the first good sleep I'd had in a long time, so I was groggy when I woke, and without even looking through the peephole, I opened the door. Standing there were Sophia's parents, Arthur and Diana. Their faces were grim. Diana sneered when she saw my sleepy look. "Ethan, my husband and I heard. Are you not going to keep looking for our Sophia? What do you mean by that? Don't you love her at all?" "Yeah, Ethan, why would you just stop looking for no reason? We're worried sick as her parents." With Diana's sharp questioning, Arthur chimed in and pushed the door open to step inside. I looked at the two of them, dressed in ostentatious finery that screamed nouveau riche, and couldn't help a faint scoff, though my face adopted just the right amount of pain and my eyes grew slightly red. Sophia had already broken me. Putting on that expression cost me nothing. Mr. Arthur, Mrs. Diana, we've already looked for so long. Maybe she's encountered something unfortunate. Why not report to the police? Who did you say encountered something unfortunate? You're cursing your own fiancée like that. Maybe our Sophia just went out for a walk to clear her head. Arthur bristled, plopping down on the sofa as if to light a cigarette, while Diana's face hardened and she urged, Ethan, you're supposed to be my son-in-law. We're this close to the wedding. How can you just stop looking? Find my daughter immediately and then get married. Mrs. Diana, I really can't find her. Why don't we try calling the police? I suggested, feeling irritated by the two of them, but having to feign helplessness. Whenever I mentioned involving the police before, Diana always reacted extremely. A flash of guilt crossed her face, then she banged the coffee table in a show of force. Call the police? What would that look like? The wedding's about to happen, relatives and friends have been informed. If you call the police now, it's bad luck. It's disgraceful. Exactly. If the police come, they'll have to do checks and interviews. What kind of wedding has a missing bride before the ceremony? Arthur stubbed out an imaginary cigarette and sighed with misplaced feeling. I snorted inwardly. They say calling the police is shameful, but behind the scenes they're nothing but snakes and rats. No good at all. My poor daughter. Ethan, if you hadn't pushed her so hard all the time, she wouldn't have run away. You Johnsonere aren't any good either. I shouldn't have matched them in the first place. My daughter should have ended up with Liam. Diana's words turned to tears as she spoke, insinuating I was a terrible person, too controlling, and that my qualifications weren't good enough for their daughter. I wonder how Sophia managed to brainwash these two so thoroughly. They complain about me now, but they forget what they were like when I first fell for Sophia. Every time I went to her house, she was eager for me to stay the night, calling me son-in-law affectionately. These past few years, the Taylor family has only been able to get back on their feet because of the help from my Johnson group, and now that they have a bit of money, they look down on my degree and on the manners of the Johnson family's young master. Back in high school, I didn't study well, and my parents sent me abroad. Now I've returned as a graduate who studied overseas. Why does that make people look down on me? Is Liam's domestic university degree really more valuable? Thinking this, I felt indignant, but my face put on a sorrowful look. Mr. Arthur, Mrs. Diana are right. Since her parents are so dissatisfied, and Sophia and I haven't married yet, maybe we should just forget it. From now on, our families can go their separate ways, so married life won't be difficult later. Wouldn't that? Diana's face briefly lit with pleasure as she was about to speak, but Arthur patted her to stop her and turned to me. Ethan, we still plan to look around. Marriage isn't something to take lightly. You can't just decide not to marry on a whim. Don't be impulsive. We were just anxious earlier. I nodded in response, saw the two of them out, and in the hallway, I heard Arthur scolding Diana outside. What were you thinking back there? Our Taylor family is indeed doing better, but we're not at the top yet. In business, we still need the Johnsons. What's the point of cutting ties now? Diana suddenly understood and kept agreeing. I sneered inwardly. At that moment, my father George called me. Ethan, I found you a marriage match. Meet and talk to her. Come home tonight, have a meal and see. I agreed at once and quickly tidied myself. When I got home, I was jaw-droppingly surprised. Olivia? Is that you? Olivia sat gracefully on the living room sofa in a white dress. Seeing my astonished expression, she stood and lifted her chin with a hint of pride. What's wrong? Am I not good enough for you? I stared at Miss Olivia for a long time. Although the Reed family did have a fair bit of business with my family, Olivia's relationship with Sophia had never been good. Olivia and I had gone abroad to study together back then and were friends. After I finished school and returned to confirm my relationship with Sophia, Olivia started showing Sophia a cold attitude. Several times she deliberately picked fights with Sophia and her family, saying we weren't in the same world. At first I politely stopped her, but every time I did she grew angrier. For a while I found her utterly unreasonable. and in the end, I couldn't be friendly toward her either. Now Olivia was saying she was willing to marry me, willing to step into the bride's role, even though Sophia and I had already announced a specific wedding date and truly form a marital alliance with my family. It was simply unbelievable. In my impression, Miss Olivia had always found me too slow and dull. Thinking this, I laughed helplessly and nodded repeatedly. Good enough, but aren't you? Aren't you the one who hates me the most? Olivia immediately understood the implication, and a faint flush crossed her face. I don't really hate you. It's just that you're always orbiting around that Taylor family name. Anyway, I'm willing to marry you now. Who else would take on your mess besides me? You're willing to marry me? I murmured, feeling dazed. My mother, Margaret Johnson, stood nearby, exasperated. Ethan, can't you see? Olivia likes you. She has always liked you. She just told me. Every time she clashes with Sophia, it's because she discovered Sophia's fake affection toward you. It's all manipulation, trying to stand up for you. Olivia, a little aggrieved at the side, mumbled, You always get mad at me. She just wants your money and you can't see it. Then you stop contacting me. How can you be like that? You're right, I was wrong before. Sophia blinded me. Sorry, Olivia. Hearing that I felt a bit embarrassed and quickly apologized, but she seemed completely unbothered. It's okay, I forgive you. Besides, I'm going to marry you anyway. With Olivia and the Reed family's push, our marriage was rushed. It was settled quickly. The news spread fast. Almost every notable person in Weston City knew and praised it as a powerful union, a match of a talented man and a beautiful woman. Arthur and Diana, upon seeing the news, rushed to find me. The two stood at my door, looking distraught. When I opened it, they hurriedly questioned me, no longer showing the arrogance they had before. Diana cautiously asked, Ethan, why is everyone saying you're going to marry Reed Group's heiress Olivia? What's going on? Weren't you going to marry our Sophia? Facing their puzzled looks, I stopped pretending and nodded straightforwardly. Yes, I told you before I'm done with Sophia. Besides, she's nowhere to be found now. I'm not going to wait. Ethan, don't be impulsive. Wait. Arthur will find Sophia and bring her back. Don't be rash. 6 years of feelings aren't something you can just let go of. I didn't reply. I watched them leave, a mocking smile slowly tugging at my lips. Soon after, a video popped up on my phone. Mr. Ethan, this is the latest video. It was from the person I had sent to monitor Sophia. He sent the newest footage. In the footage, she was strolling with Liam, arm in arm, looking utterly sweet. Then she got a phone call and, after hearing a couple of lines, looked shocked. What? Mom, you wanted to come back immediately. Ethan got engaged. Mom, don't worry. We'll talk when we get back. Sophia turned pale and panicked, about to leave in a hurry. Liam grabbed her and leaned in a whisper for a long time. I could pretty much guess what he said. Sure enough, after a short while her flustered look faded significantly. Her complexion brightened and she grew angry, as if she'd been played, then called Diana back. Mom, I'm not coming back. Don't rush. Listen to me. I know Ethan. He loves me, so he wouldn't do this. This is just a tactic to force me to come back. That's how his control freak tendencies show. If he doesn't want to genuinely pursue, he'd stoop to these low tricks to make me return. The more he does this, the less I respect him. Arthur and Diana didn't seem convinced. From the other end of the phone, they pressed a few more vague urgings, probably invoking concern for the Taylor family again, which made Sophia impatient. Got it. I'll come back to marry him. Stop saying anything else. If I didn't want to know the Taylor family, what we've enjoyed all these years would mean nothing. All right, Mom and Dad, I'm hanging up. When I get back, I'm going to make Ethan kneel at the wedding and sing Conquer. The video ends here. I really don't know where Sophia's confidence comes from. Olivia appeared behind me, looking down at the video end screen. A playful, teasing look flashed across her pretty face. Fiancée, I heard she made you kneel and sing Conquer. You're not going to dump me again, are you? Hearing that, I met her eyes and shook my head with a smile. I won't. I'll marry you. Sophia can do whatever she wants. Who knew that simply stating a fact would make Olivia blush so hard she awkwardly went to another room, tossing over That's better. The wedding day was fast approaching, but Sophia hadn't shown up. Arthur and Diana tried to comfort me and insisted I stay calm while urging Sophia to come back. From the looks of it, she wasn't listening. For the wedding, my parents had booked the Sky Garden of the most luxurious hotel in Weston City and invited prominent figures and reporters from home and abroad. The whole ceremony blended Eastern and Western elements, planned by a dedicated design team to look high-end and tasteful. I had just asked a few people to prepare the fireworks when my phone rang. I pulled it out and saw the caller, a name that hadn't called me once in over a month and had never proactively phoned me. Sophia. I tugged at my mouth and answered. The person on the other end sounded proud, as if expecting me to pick up instantly. Ethan, today's the wedding, right? You must be freaking out. Now that there's no bride, aren't you embarrassed? If you beg me right now, I'll come back and marry you. At this point, I really didn't understand what game Sophia was still playing, so I spoke softly. Sophia, look up. Sophia on the phone made a puzzled sound, frowned, and looked up in confusion, then sucked in a breath. I knew. She had seen the live broadcast of the wedding on the big screen of the office building opposite. This wedding was co-sponsored by the Johnsons and the Reeds, who had booked all of Weston's electronic screens. At that moment, every screen was streaming my wedding live. As the camera slowly panned and then showed Olivia stepping out in a couture wedding dress, Sophia's face immediately went pale. Ethan, are you really getting married? With Olivia? Sophia screamed until her voice cracked. She couldn't believe I was getting married, let alone that it was being broadcast live, and she couldn't accept that my bride was Olivia, the woman she'd fought with all these years. Ethan, don't joke like this. I'll marry you. You called Olivia over to help you stage this? There's no need to provoke me. Didn't you hate her too? Hearing her say that, I almost laughed and replied, I advise you not to speak ill of my wife. Hating her in the past doesn't mean I still hate her. Sophia, do you think that if you come back and say you're willing to marry me, I'll be as eager and obedient as before? Sophia was baffled by my tone, so I continued, but why should I? Why should I marry a woman who deliberately plays at disappearing on me? Sophia had never heard me speak to her like this and immediately panicked. I did it to prove whether you love me. Ethan, you stopped looking after just a few days. You disappointed me so much. I could only remain silent. After a long pause, Sophia suddenly realized one phone call couldn't reveal her exact location. You told me to look up just now? Do you know where I am? I smirked and nodded slightly. Sophia, I know far more than you think. Impossible. How could you possibly know all of that? The places I usually go are ones you would never go to and have no interest in. Sophia hurriedly looked around for paparazzi or photographers, but found none. From now on, when you go out with Liam, don't pick places that are so close, and we don't need to keep in touch anymore. I ended the live video. The wedding went very smoothly. Even many names not on the guest list came to offer their congratulations. By the time Sophia found me, the wedding had already ended. Olivia and I had just finished the last dance and taken our bows. She had gone to rest. Sophia walked slowly through the luxuriously decorated venue, stunned for a moment. Her eyes reddened as she looked at me, clearly full of envy and jealousy. Ethan, the wedding you promised to arrange for me was never this nice. How could you do this for Olivia? I looked at the increasingly unhinged Sophia and spoke without changing my expression. Speaking of that, I should thank you, Sophia. Thank you for letting me go. You thank me? That sentence completely broke Sophia down. She glared at me viciously for a long time. Then, seeing no crack in my expression, the envy and jealousy turned into rage. Ethan, you'll regret not marrying me. From now on, I'm with Liam. He'll surpass you sooner or later. With that spiteful parting shot, Sophia strode off arrogantly. Surpass me sooner or later. I couldn't help but snort. 10 years of hard study. How could that compare to my family's 3 generations in business? What on earth was this woman thinking? Didn't she know Liam's degree was only the minimum threshold to even meet me at my company? He wasn't even qualified to meet my father, George. I turned and told my assistant to sever all cooperation with the Taylor family from then on. Later, When Arthur found out about this, he came with the equally resentful Diana to beg on Sophia's behalf. In the end, Sophia, who arrived later, took him away. She was extremely proud at that moment. I'm telling you, Ethan, you think I'm after your family's money? Liam already has new ways to make money. We don't need you. From now on, he won't be worse than you. They left like clowns, and I laughed mockingly. All right, I'll wait for him to be better than me. No need for anything else. Just let the wedding be held here. I tapped the expensive hotel beneath my foot. Their expressions changed, and they muttered curses as they turned and left. After that, once my Johnson Group cut ties with the Taylors and withdrew investment, the Taylors were down for a while, but then Liam loudly started seeking financing everywhere. Previously, Johnson Group people had been helping manage Taylor's small company and securing some small businesses from Johnson Group. Small as they were, it was enough to fatten them up. Now that the two families had split, my company also removed its management. Taylor Enterprises had been hollowed out. Aside from a few low-level hires they made themselves, there was no one capable of taking charge. Management became chaotic, and many people resigned one after another. Yet they naively believed they could manage on their own and thought Johnson Group people were timid, only taking pitiful profits. Now they could finally make decisions themselves. Perhaps because they recently started calling former partners and were too inexperienced and presumptuous in their financing attempts, many business owners' calls ended up coming to me. I only said that what they did had nothing to do with me and certainly not our family's intention. From now on, Taylor Enterprises has nothing to do with Johnson Group, so there's no need to call anymore. At the same time, I had roughly figured out what they wanted to invest in. Years of business experience let me spot at a glance that it was a scam. The idea of some get-rich-quick investment that guarantees profits is laughable. What era do they think this is, that anyone believes there are no losing deals in the world? But I didn't meddle further. I only warned other bosses to be more careful and advised people around me not to throw their money into it. Sophia, who hadn't borrowed the money, naturally pinned all the blame on me and sent me several voice messages and calls. Ethan, you just can't stand to see my family do well. How dare you stop those bosses from investing in my family? Are you trying to use Johnson Group to bully us? How did I not realize you're such a petty, scheming person? I'll tell you, even if you stop them from investing, I can find plenty of bosses willing to. Her face was so hateful now that I had no desire to keep talking. I hung up on her and blocked her. It was obvious she was demanding money using the Johnson Group name. Whatever, when the amounts got large, our legal team would handle it. Sure enough, not long after, Johnson Group's legal department came down on the Taylors. The would-be investors terminated the cooperation before transferring any money, and Sophia couldn't gloat anymore. Her calls to me didn't go through. I heard she couldn't borrow, so she took a bank loan with Taylor Enterprises as collateral. Judging from the timing, she had clearly been carried away by that small first-round profit. The second round of returns on that scheme led her to mortgage the house as well. The entire Taylor family was now walking with their heads held high, believing the returns would elevate them into the upper class, and they started frenzied, retaliatory spending on luxury goods they couldn't previously afford. Many friends told me they'd seen Sophia strutting proudly in luxury stores. I frequently received various boasts from her or them, some about luxury items, some about new cars. In short, they were living it up recently. I neither blocked nor replied. I just treated it as a joke. Without Johnson Group, they were utterly foolish. Before long, the Taylors didn't receive the third and largest return, and Liam disappeared along with them. The whole Taylor family fell from heaven to hell overnight. The company couldn't meet payroll, was on the brink of bankruptcy, and not only had the money they'd made through Johnson Group and lost, they were buried in debt. The next day, Sophia, with a haggard face, was at my front door. I'd finally come home from a business meeting, and she offered what she thought was a sweet smile. Ethan, I just got out of the car when I heard her call me with that pet name from when we were in love. A chill ran through me, and I pretended not to see her as I went into the villa courtyard. Unexpectedly, Sophia slipped in while the gate wasn't fully closed, grabbed my arm, and pleaded, Ethan, please hear me out. After 6 years together, can't you at least listen to me? I looked at her carefully made-up face, freed my arm, feeling nothing. If you have something to say it here. Sophia brightened at that, then hesitated for a moment. Can you lend me some money? It doesn't have to be much. A few $1,000,000 will do. I'm really strapped right now. For the sake of our past, help me out. I remained unmoved and shrugged helplessly. I don't have the cash on me. My money is all with my wife. Sophia froze. Then the villa gate opened. Oliva must have seen my car parked a long time and no one coming in, so she came out with the butler to look. When she saw Sophia, she immediately put on a mocking face. Oh, who did I think it was? Turns out it's Miss Taylor. Coming to see our Ethan so late. Got some business? A flash of embarrassment crossed Sophia's face, and she was about to speak, but Olivia cut her off, openly sizing her up and down. I thought you were the one who just bought that latest bag a few months ago and refused to pay. How come you're dressed so shabby now? Not a single designer on you. Did you lose money in business, and now you're here borrowing from our Ethan? Sophia was mortified and didn't know what to say. Olivia stepped forward, hooked her arm in mine, and tilted her chin at Sophia. Sorry, Miss Taylor, I'm waiting for Ethan to eat, so we'll be seeing ourselves out. Humiliated, Sophia had nowhere to hide. She put on a pitiful look at me as she was shown out. Ethan, aren't you going to invite me in for a seat? I was irritated. I grabbed her and started pulling her away. Sophia, I've been very patient with you. Don't come and interfere with our lives anymore. As she was being kicked out, Sophia's eyes reddened. Ethan, I'll wait for you on the bench by Weston River where we watched the fireworks together before. If you don't come, I'll keep coming to bother you and your family. I was unmoved, turned back to the villa, and told Olivia about it, wanting her opinion. Unexpectedly, Olivia took a sip of soup and nodded quite decisively. Ethan, go. You know you shouldn't corner someone when they have nothing. If she gets desperate after being harassed, it could be dangerous. You should also put an end to it, but be careful. Olivia's understanding touched me deeply. Later that evening, I saw Sophia at Weston River dressed all in purple, because I once said I liked seeing her in purple. But now looking at her stirred no feeling in me. I couldn't get back what I used to feel. I thought it would end more gracefully, but her first words chilled me. Sophia tucked her hair behind her ear and spoke to me earnestly. Ethan, I don't believe you really love Olivia. Divorce her and be with me. What kind of life are you living now? The Johnson heir can't even come up with a few $1,000,000. His wife controls all his money. Isn't the Reed family just being too much? I know you're being forced. I feel for you, Ethan. Come back. Let's be together. Her words struck me as ridiculous. What on earth was pitiful about me? Besides, I gave Olivia control of the money willingly. It was part of our marital dynamic. Thinking that, my tone turned cold. Sophia, this is my family matter. It's none of your business, is it? Besides, even if I divorced Olivia, I wouldn't be with you. What a joke. How long are you going to keep pretending? I really don't love you anymore. Sophia, can't we part amicably? My series of refusals and taunts finally left Sophia in tears. She choked up and began to guilt-trip me. Ethan, my family's really finished now. You just stand there watching my family fall apart. What did our 6 years mean to you? Now let me ask you, what did our 6 years mean to you? Worthless, right? You were the one who disappeared for a month before our marriage and stayed with Liam. Who forced you to do that? Now look where you are. It's all your own fault. What does that have to do with me? As I scolded her without mercy, Sophia couldn't even cry. She couldn't keep up the act, glared at me viciously, and left. Ethan, don't you regret this? The next day, she brought her whole family up to the rooftop. By the time I heard the news, a crowd had already gathered downstairs at the building, pointing fingers and making a racket. Mr. Ethan, you're here. We already have people negotiating up there, but Miss Taylor won't agree. She insists you come. She says her family's bankruptcy is all your fault. If you don't come, they'll all jump. The officer coordinating things was about to escort me into the unit, explaining the situation as we walked. I frowned and said nothing. From above, Arthur and Diana grew even louder when they saw me, shouting down to the street. Ethan, Look at what you've done to our family. If you don't give the money, I'll jump. Ethan, I really misjudged you, kid. Give us the money. You've ruined us. There's not even a house left. Are you trying to kill me? By the time I reached the roof, several officers were already mediating. Arthur and Diana, seeing me arrive, immediately put on righteous airs. At that moment, my temples were throbbing. I couldn't help speaking. What does your bankruptcy have to do with me? You lacked investment foresight and chased unrealistic profits. That's why you're in this mess. Diana flew into a rage and pointed at me. If you had married our Sophia, would any of this have happened? If Johnson Group hadn't withdrawn its investment, would we have ended up like this? But I clearly remembered that when they pulled out, they were ecstatic, saying they were confident they could run the company brilliantly on their own. It was absurd. This has nothing to do with Johnson Group. If you check your greed back then, at the very least, even without my family's employees, your company could have kept you fed and clothed. And now you want me to give you money. After a long silence, Sophia finally spoke. She stood at the edge of the roof and shouted at me. Ethan, if you don't give the money today, I'll jump. No matter what. You'll carry a death on your conscience for the rest of your life. Seeing her frantic expression, I almost reflexively wanted to refuse, but the police pulled me aside and told me to calm them down first and deal with it afterward. Sophia, take your parents down first. The amount you mentioned last time, I agreed to it. Reluctantly, I agreed to pay. Sophia looked at me in disbelief at first, frowning. Are you sure? I want a contract. I'm sure. After I guaranteed it, and they double-checked, they finally came down from the roof smiling. But as they approached to collect the money, the police immediately took control and put handcuffs on them. For a moment, the three of them were stunned. What do you mean by this? Sophia widened her eyes. Arthur and Diana struggled to run, but were restrained by officers. Sorry, Miss Taylor, you and your parents are under arrest for fraud and extortion. The police showed their IDs and then signaled for others to go downstairs and take them away. They had always lacked education, and now, having somehow learned brazen methods of extortion, they ended up tripping themselves up. In the end, the few of them shouted as they were taken away. Because it was the two elders who came up with the extortion scheme, they got the harshest sentences. They'll never get out in this lifetime. Sophia was involved. Although only an accomplice, she was sentenced to a few years. Before she was taken, she said nothing but looked at me with hatred, which made my skin crawl. But life goes on, so I moved to a different place since Sophia had my old address. A few years later, Liam was caught after scamming the Taylor family. His case led the police to uncover countless other cases involving massive sums, and Liam was sentenced to immediate execution. I felt nothing about it. He got what he deserved. Years later, I was strolling along the Weston River with a pregnant Olivia, enjoying the pleasant scenery. Over the years, I'd gradually let go of the family business, planning to devote myself entirely to my family and the unborn child, which made Olivia very happy and full of hope for the future. What do you think we should name the baby? You decide whatever you like. I leaned in and kissed Olivia's face, feeling for her hard work. It was evening and Weston River was crowded and lively. Ethan, Olivia, I want you dead. Everything changed then. A disheveled person suddenly burst from the crowd, brandishing a knife. My heart sank. The skills I've been training all these years finally had a use. I moved fast, shielding Olivia and kicking the attacker to the ground. When my kick landed, I realized the person was incredibly weak, nowhere near as ferocious as when he'd raised the knife. The person cried out in pain, and when he looked up, it was Sophia. She was gaunt, disheveled, and extremely thin. Obviously, she hadn't had an easy time these past years. Ethan, I'm going to kill you. Sophia caught her breath and reached for the knife again, but in those few seconds a bystander kicked the knife away and people together subdued her. The police arrived quickly and arrested Sophia. I comforted the slightly shaken Olivia and went to the station with her. It was through the police that I learned to rest. Arthur and Diana had become depressed in prison and committed suicide one after the other. After Sophia got out and heard the news, she went mad and frantically searched for me. Later, when Sophia was confined to a psychiatric hospital, I went to see her once. You're Ethan, aren't you? It's you who wronged me. It's you. I'm going to kill you. I'll kill Olivia too. I'll send them all to hell. She was still shouting and cursing everyone in the ward, convinced the whole world had wronged her. I sighed and turned away. Olivia was about to give birth. The three of us were about to start a new life.